No, let's go ahead. Now that the chairman is here, we should go ahead and call the meeting to order.
I apologize that I'm late. I thought this was at 4 o'clock. All right. The Building Commission meeting is called to order. The new business is about the sewer bond petition.
So let's start with the minutes first, Mr. Chairman.
I can't see, I don't have glasses on. Where does it say? Oh. So we start with the minutes.
It's on the next page.
That's what I was looking for. Put all this stuff together. Well, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the last meeting from February 22nd.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, we get to the old business. Or do we?
Let's take up new business first, and then we'll quickly slide into old business.
Let's go to the new business item number 1 first on the agenda, which is the sewer bond petition. Let's go to item number 1 on the agenda under new business.
Okay, sewer bond petition.
Sewer bond petition, and City Manager Hennessy will give you an update on that agenda item.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So the first order of business this evening, I just wanted to report back to the Building Commission that at last night's City Council meeting, we received a petition from Jefferson County Vision that would change, if applicable, would change the required number of votes in order to approve the next issue, the bond ordinance. So it's basically at this point, I just want to introduce that we have received this petition. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the context of the old business. And so I don't think there's any business that needs to be done on this. I will say that, again, the petition did apply to the Building Commission as well. So, again, we just want to make sure that it's clear that piece of new business is in front of us today. So with that, I think we can move to the old business and begin.
This, you said, was done last night?
It was submitted last night, yes.
Because I was here, and I don't remember it.
Not at this point.
Okay.
So then, Mr. Chairman, if we'll move to item 3242 under old business, and
242.
which is on the front page. And I would ask that you read the entire title of that item.
Okay, the old business. Third and final reading of an ordinance authorizing the design, acquisition, construction, and equipping of a public sewerage system of the Charlestown Building Commission and the financing of the cost not otherwise provided thereof through the issuance of not more than $16 million in aggregate principal amount of lease revenue bonds, Series 2018, West Virginia Infrastructure Fund, providing for the rights and remedies of and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming a loan agreement relating to the bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto.
I'll motion that we accept the reading.
Do I hear a second?
So you have a motion, you need a second?
I made a motion.
Oh, you made the motion. But I said, did I hear
To
a second?
accept the reading.
Oh, accept it.
Yes. I second that we accept the reading.
All in favor?
Well,
Let's not vote.
no. So the main motion is now on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
To approve the third and final reading. So let's, if we could, then, yeah. So
That's not, I thought we were accepting the reading of it.
well, it's just the motion is on the floor. You have a main motion on the floor for the third and final reading. So before any action on the third and final reading, staff wanted to provide a little bit of an update with the help of a couple of council members, if you will. We had anticipated at this meeting that City Council would be taking action on its second reading last night. That did not happen. And as a result of that, I've asked at least one of the council members to say a few words. There are two council members here. So if I could invite Councilman Mike Brittingham up to the podium, just say a little bit about what the council did, what happened last evening, and maybe a little bit about the petition, because again, it will be an issue in front of this board.
Hello. Thank you all for having me here today. So what is that? Of course. I guess I would ask, what's the first question that you would like answered?
So if you could recap a little bit the action, council's actions last evening.
So the Jefferson County Vision Group presented a petition to us last night. It contained, I believe they said, about 1,015 signatures of property owners in Charlestown. The effect of that petition in their eyes would be to create a mechanism by the state, whereas instead of having a simple majority to approve these bonds, it would trigger a 4/5 majority would be needed to approve the bonds. City Council accepted that petition, however, didn't believe that it was applicable. There were a couple different reasons legally that were explained to us as to why the attorneys didn't believe it to be applicable to the situation. The one that seemed to receive the most consensus among the city council members, and to my recollection, nobody disagreed with this aspect, was that the state code pretty clearly defines that petition should be delivered at a public hearing. The public hearing that we held for this topic was on the same day that you all held your public hearing, which was August 6, 2018. So we kind of came to the conclusion that the state code seems pretty clear that the petition should have been delivered on August 6th. I have my own thoughts on different aspects of it, but as far as the city council goes, that's why we didn't accept that petition at that time.
And then maybe if you could speak a little bit to why then, the reason that council then tabled the motion, the specific reason raised by Councilman Trainer.
So obviously throughout the course of this, since August 6th, we've received a lot of information, basically at every single meeting. To be honest, I know we had a couple building commission members at our meeting last night, and I wish we would have dove into a little more of the issues at our past council meetings. We've talked about a lot more than we did last night. I think everybody was ready to just kind of make some moves last night, given the attendance and that people have been waiting for this. The main point that was brought up last night was that on Friday, the West Virginia DEP basically issued their responses to the permit modification that the Charlestown Utility Board had asked for in order to accept Rockwool's industrial waste. In those comments, the DEP made it pretty clear that their stance, which is in conflict with the Charlestown Utility Board's attorney's stance, is that the city of Charlestown is not required to accept industrial waste and is not mandated by the DEP or the PSC. Now, that certainly is not the PSC's official position, but that was certainly put down by the DEP, that they believed that that was not a requirement by the PSC. They further noted that the issuance of the modification they didn't want that construed in any way to be a mandate from them that the city of Charlestown has to accept this industrial waste. They made it pretty clear that the Charlestown Utility Board had asked for this permit modification. It met the requirements, and that's why they were issuing it, but not because they believed that the city of Charlestown has to accept industrial waste from Rockwool. One of our councilmen had an issue that obviously that conflicts with what the Charlestown Utility Board attorneys have informed the city council. And so the request was made that the bond vote basically would be tabled until we get an opinion from the PSC. I know the city has now at this point requested that. I don't know if the PSC will give that opinion or what it'll say or how long they'll take to do that, but that's basically what we're waiting on now.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Panessa, did you want to add anything from last night's meeting, or? Great. So do we have any questions for the council members regarding last night's meeting? All right, if not, thank you. So one other thing, if I could, before we move to the next aspect of this, is if it's the will of the body, we do have the petitioner here. Maybe just a couple of words from them in terms of the petition and the submission from them. If the group is okay with that. Again, maybe just a little bit. Chris, introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Chris Canan. I'm a Jefferson County resident, a board member of Jefferson County Vision, the group that organized this unbelievable accomplishment. It's over 1,000 municipal Charlestown property owners. These are the property title holders, taxpayers, in protest against this amendment. And one of the questions that they would ask is, why the building commission? And that's an amazing question, because this is a sewer line that doesn't have a foot inside of municipal Charlestown, and it drags in all these other issues about permits and controversy. But we appreciate your time on this, and thank you, and hope that you'll find a way to receive it. So thank you.
Great. Yes. Thanks. So that's the staff report at this point. I think that if it's, again, the will of the group, that it may be prudent to go into executive session to discuss the merits of the petition and its application.
I move we go into executive session for the discussion with the lawyers.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So we're in
Okay.
executive session.
All right, so we've got a room here. We're going to
He's always fashionably the last one.
I'm not sure if they've all done that.
We don't have to make a motion, we just have to respond.
Somebody has to make a motion to come out of executive.
Oh, we have to make a motion, somebody has to make a motion.
You just gavel us back into the session. You don't have to do a motion.
Nobody did it last night.
The commission is back in public session. Did you have something?
No.
Do you want me to read the public statement, or the statement
Yeah.
about the written protest? We have been advised by legal counsel that the written protest could only be filed in a timely manner at the public hearing on August 6th. Accordingly, the written protest may not be accepted. However, we do acknowledge and appreciate the time and effort that has gone into the collecting of those signatures.
So with that, we're back to the motion in front of us.
Yes.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to,
We're still in, okay.
I'd like to make a motion to table the discussion and table this motion, the third reading, until such a time that the city council enacts the ordinance and authorizes the lease.
Here a second.
I second the motion made by Keith Valier.
So discussion? Yeah, just discussion?
Is there
Oh,
any-
no, I'm sorry, table.
There's no
Table,
discussion on
that's
the
right,
table.
sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next,
Motion table.
is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I guess I'll second that motion also to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is